Welcome everyone. If I haven't met you over on Flipgrid, my name is Amanda McDermott and I'm an advisor here at OFS. The purpose of this video is to introduce this week's topic, which is priorities, and explain this week's assignment, which is for you to identify your priorities. Now, why this assignment? Well, you're a high school student, and high school students are regularly flooded with requests and demands. It's like an ongoing sea of things that you must do to keep up in your classes, to respect or please your parents, to meet obligations to sports or clubs, to build strong friendships, and more. So when you run out of time in your day or your week, how do you choose what can slide to another day and what you must do immediately? In that moment, you are prioritizing one way of spending your time over another. And when you identify your priorities, you determine what is most important. Having done that, knowing and thinking about your priorities allows you to bring order to your busy schedule, to make decisions about how you spend your time, and ultimately to stay on track to achieve your goals. Here is the assignment. Identifying your priorities. You might notice right away that there are 3 headings: responsibilities and goal-driven priorities, health, happiness, and meaning priorities, inconsequential low priorities or bonus. So I've given you 3 sort of buckets to think about. The purpose of those categories is not to list the thing in the right spot. The purpose of those categories is to help you think about all the different things in your life that are priorities to you. Here are some examples. Schoolwork, feeding the dog, maybe you have a job. There might be other responsibilities that you have at home or outside of the home. Examples for health, happiness, and meaning priorities: spending time with your loved ones, getting exercise, attending church, stress management, and of course there are many more in both of these categories. Low priorities are things like watching shows, scrolling social media, things that if you didn't get around to doing them, it would still be okay. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about this process before I go through the step-by-step. So I want you to understand, again, that it's not as important which category you put a priority in when you do this assignment, because it's meant to be individual to you. So what is right for you might be different for someone else. I'm going to give you a couple of examples. So what is a health priority for one person might be in the responsibility category for someone else. For example, exercise in general might be a priority for me, but for someone on the soccer team, that is really a responsibility because they are responsible to show up to practice and do their best each time because they have teammates who are counting on them. A health priority, like it could go the other way too. So a health priority for someone might be a bonus for someone else. For example, maybe something like, I'll just add to this list as we go. Maybe something like art is only a bonus for me. Maybe for me it would be over here, but maybe for someone else it is central to their stress management. And I know some of you artists out there for whom that is true. Another one, I spoke to a student recently who for whom volunteering is a big priority right now, whereas for someone else it might be more of a bonus. In addition, what is a top goal-driven priority for one person might not even be on the list at all for someone else. For example, preparing for the SAT or the ACT might be a top priority for some of our 11th and 12th graders who are college bound. But for some other students who are on a career path and not attending college right after high school, it's not on their list at all. And that is okay. This exercise, this assignment will only be valuable to you if you base it on your individual priorities. Similarly, I want you to know that priorities vary by season. A simple example of that would be that for most of you, schoolwork right here was not a priority over the summer, right? Similarly, sports are based in seasons. And when your sport is in season, it's a big priority, but not so much for a while after the season has come to an end. There might be seasons of life when your family is a higher priority, like around the holidays, or the birth of a new sibling, or when your family is moving. In addition, something that was on your low or bonus category for a while might end up moving up. So for example, let's say you had redecorating your room, but eventually it moves over here because that really gives you a big happiness boost. Or maybe it's just cleaning your room. And for a while, it's a low priority, but then it gets to a point where like, actually, this needs to be taken care of. So this is not an exercise you do once and it stays the same forever, is the point I want to make there. Okay, the last thing I want to say about these categories is that some people will place more weight on this category, responsibilities and goals, and other people will place more value or more weight on health, happiness, and meaning. That's just because we're different humans, right? So I'll explain. I grew up in a household that placed a lot of value on responsibility. That benefited me because I was able to accomplish a lot. My husband has always been someone who's placed more value on health and happiness. And what I've come to understand is that we really need all three. It might be hard sometimes for us to, in the example of myself and my husband, it can be tricky to figure out how to make time for all of the things we want to do and all of our values. But ultimately, we are a great team and we're really healthy because of the balance we bring to each other. We really need all three. So responsibilities and goals, if we didn't have those, not only would we be more likely to get ourselves into some trouble in one form or another, but we'd really be selling ourselves short because we all have strengths and talents to contribute to the world. And if we are not responsible to them or have goals that drive us to them, we're missing out. And so is our community. Similarly, if we focus solely on those responsibilities and those goals, and that is all that we do with our time, it can lead to real illness, all manner of illness, both mental and physical illness. We need to take care of our health. And just so you know, these are not just my opinions, but these are facts of how we are designed as humans. So even low priorities can be of value, can be good for us because we all need to relax and let our hair down once in a while. So I just wanted to add that context so that you don't feel like there's an exact right way or wrong way to do this assignment. I really want you to use these categories to help you think through everything that matters to you and everything that is on your plate, even if you would prefer that it's not. Okay, so if you're responsible for taking out the garbage or any other household chores, list them here. Watching younger siblings could be a responsibility. Okay, so I want you to list everything you can think of. The first step is to use this to brainstorm, doing the left and center columns first. So start here, brainstorm everything you can here under the Your List section. After you've thought of as many as you can, list the other things you spend time on in the right column. I want to be clear that these are not necessarily good or bad either. They can be either one. So, for example, I spend some time on Instagram, and that can be either good or bad. It's good because there are some people I follow on there who really are inspiring to me. They bring value, they bring joy to my life. But if I spend too long on there, we've all had that feeling of just feeling kind of gross because we wasted a lot of time. Okay? So you'll just list all the things that you do spend time on in that final column. All the things you can think of anyway. Then you have this optional part 3, which is if some priorities are more important than others, you're going to cut and paste those to the top of the column. So for example, maybe this student is in a season where the SAT and ACT is coming up really soon. So it's going to take a higher priority than just about anything. Okay, so you can just easily select something and then Control X or go to the edit menu, and you can move it around to where you feel like it should be in your brain. Okay? Okay, the last step is to estimate how much time would be ideal for each priority each week and write that time in parentheses next to the priority. So for me, my job at OFS is about 25 hours per week, right? And for you, your schoolwork should be similar, around 30 hours per week. Feeding the dog might take you 10 minutes per day. And something like the SAT or ACT prep, like how much time, that takes a little bit of time to think about. Maybe that is going to be 1 hour a week, 2 hours a week, I don't know. And over here, yeah, how much time are you going to spend? This category, responsibilities and goal-driven priorities, just the way that life works, it tends to take up more of our time. But that doesn't mean that this category of health, happiness, and meaning shouldn't get some significant time as well. So just think through the time, and that will set you up for the next assignment, which is to create your schedule. This document can also be a guide for you once you have it done about how you want to spend your time and if you're spending your time in ways that are aligned with your priorities. All right, thanks for hanging in there. This video was long. Go ahead and get this done and submit it here on Canvas. Thanks, guys.